Yeah. It's 10 o'clock. Hereby, I open this academic ceremony in which Guanguao Zhang will defend the academic thesis essays on science evaluation. May I invite you to present a summary of your study and the conclusions of your thesis. Floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you, Director. Now,
For the next hour.
okay. Can you see my screen? Dear supervisors, dear Director, and dear members of my committee. In the next 15 minutes, I will start my presentation entitled Essays on Science Evaluation. This presentation consists of 6 sections, including introduction, 4 empirical chapters, and conclusion. Now I'll start this in a brief introduction of science evaluation and peer review. As we all know, science evaluation is a fundamental part of the scientific framework, playing an important role in strengthening scientific competitiveness, facilitating efficient scientific resource allocation, and improving the development and learning of scientific skills. Peer review is essential to the process of scientific evaluation. Peer review is designed to assess the validity, quality, significance, and originality of research submissions intended for publication. Its goal is to maintain the standard of scientific research by filtering out flawed or low-quality manuscripts and improving the quality of those considered suitable for publication. As the main process for ensuring quality, peer review helps editors make decisions about what gets published, while also giving reviewers a chance to improve papers by providing helpful feedback during the review. Despite the important role that peer review plays in science, its role within academia remains controversial, promoting heightened attention from scholars in fields such as science, technology policy and publishing. For instance, the criteria employed in paper selection, peer review duration, and peer review comments. This thesis is to explore the central question driving the main themes of this thesis, focus on the different effects of peer review on decisions, duration, comments, and scientific skills. First, an investigation is carried out to explore the relationship between peer review decisions and factors like paper quality and author reputation. Second, an analysis is conducted to examine the correlation between paper attractiveness and peer review duration. Third, the focus then turns to positive feedback, particularly praised in peer review, with an examination of the factors relative to such comments. Four, different from the preceding 3 studies, I investigate the demands for digital skills in scientific careers. The chapter 2 is entitled Big Ideas or Big Names, What Matters in Peer Review. I discuss this question, the relationships between paper quality, author reputation, and peer review outcomes. I collect paper submission data from social science research network, including acceptance information and rejection information. I also supply the citation data from Web of Science and Scopus. The dependent variable is acceptance, which is a dummy variable. The independent variables includes big ideas, which measured in paper citation, and the big names, which measure in author citation. We have three highlights. Our analysis reveals a significant correlation between paper quality and paper acceptance. Author reputation is also associated with paper acceptance, particularly among junior researchers. Specifically, a rise in author reputation correlates with an increased probability of paper acceptance for this group. We prefer an explanatory mechanism for this phenomenon, positing that author reputation enhances the likelihood of paper acceptance by serving as a quality signal. Chapter 3, entitled Is Peer Review Duration Shorter for Attractiveness Manuscripts? We discuss this question. Is there a relationship between the attractiveness of a manuscript and the duration of the peer review process? I collect data, the peer review history from the British Medical Journal and the slide automatic attention score. The dependent variable is attractiveness of manuscripts, which is measured using the automatic attention score. And the independent variable is peer review duration, which is calculated as the number of days between the submission of a manuscript and the first decision made by the journal. I find that a significant negative relationship between the peer review duration and the AAS, indicating that more attractive manuscripts tend to have shorter peer review durations. The chapter 4, entitled Cultural Distance, Gender, and Praise in Peer Review, we discuss two questions. First, do reviewers who are culturally closer to authors are more likely to provide longer praise? Second, do female reviewers are more likely to provide longer praise? We collect 952 review comments drawn from 301 articles published in the British Medical Journal, and the dependent variable is praise, which is the length of praise in review comments measured in word count. And the independent variables includes two variables. The first is cultural distance, which is measured using Hoof test cultural dimensions quantified to assess the similarity between the reviewer and the author cultures. The second one is gender, which is coded as a binary variable. I find that authors receive longer praise from reviewers with whom they share closer culture, and female reviewers tend to provide more praise than male reviewers. The chapter 5 is entitled What are the digital skills sought by scientific explorers in potential candidates? We discuss four questions. First, how do digital skills required for scientific jobs vary across multidisciplinary contexts, organizations, and countries? Second, are jobs offering higher salaries more likely to require digital skills compared to jobs offering lower salaries? Third, what are the most critical digital skills demanded in scientific jobs? Fourth, what are the emerging digital skills experiencing high demand? We collect 126,360 job advertisements from science careers. I use the content analysis and the regulation analysis to answer our questions. Then we get some implications. There's an increasing demand for digital skills in scientific jobs from 2019 to 2023. Skills such as data analysis, statistics, Python, and R language demonstrate increasing demand. And multidisciplinary jobs require more digital skills compared to single discipline jobs. And jobs in the industry demand significantly more digital skills than those in academia. And jobs located outside the US show a higher demand for digital skills than those within the US. Finally, higher salary jobs are more likely to require digital skills. In the final section, we have some conclusions and implications. First, in case where the influence of author reputations is inevitable, using open peer review, where reviewers and their feedback are made public, could act as a check, helping to reduce inequalities in the scientific system. The attention reviewers give to a manuscript is an important aspect of their behavior and should be considered in peer review models to better understand their process. Efforts to improve peer review should continue to prioritize diversity, including cultural background and gender, among reviewers. Journal editors are encouraged to look beyond the convenience and expand their networks to include a more diverse group of reviewers. Education policymakers should shift their attention to their main aspects of digital skills. It's crucial to integrate digital skills into relevant higher education programs. We also acknowledge that there's several limitations in our research. First, as to the data used in this study comes only from journals linked to the self-press or PMG, while our main focus is on the theoretical contributions rather than practical results. Caution is needed when applying these findings to wider situations. Second, as to the strength of results, although our investigation reveals associations between relevant factors and people acceptance, it's essential to recognize that stronger causal evidence is imperative to reinforce these conclusions in future research endeavors. So, additional investigation into the causal relationships between identified factors and people acceptance is needed to enhance the strength of our finding. That's all my presentation. Thank you for listening. Now I will give the floor to the prorector.
Thank you for your presentation. The opposition will be opened by Professor Dr. Pierre Monin, who was the chair of the assessment committee and whose expertise is in particular on the econometrics of technological change. I'm happy to give the floor to Professor Monin.
Sorry, I had to unmute.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prorector. Dear candidate, dear Mr. Zhang, with great pleasure, I read your thesis and various essays regarding this economics of science. And I have a question regarding chapter 3, and I wasn't quite sure that I understood exactly what you were doing in chapter 3. You write that we predict that more attractive manuscripts will have a shorter peer review duration. And a bit later you write that peer review duration may vary with the complexity of topics, quality of manuscripts, and the experience of reviewers. So to me, it seems that peer review duration is the dependent variable, the object of analysis, what you want to explain. And attractiveness is one of the explanatory variables. Yet, I have a feeling that you considered attractiveness to be the dependent variable. Could you explain that a little bit?
Okay. Highly esteemed opponents, thank you for your questions. Yes, I want to discuss the question that the period duration and the attractiveness of the manuscripts. Actually, I want to discuss the issue that the reviewers' behavior and their initiative. So you know, according to previous theories, if people may invest more resources on the important on the important information, may for instance the important work, important papers, and important news. So we think if paper or manuscript is very important, then the reviewers may invest their efforts on this paper. So we want to use the so if they trade off their they have a trade off in their peer review endeavors, we can examine it. So we want to use their reviewers' strategy behavior to explain their the paper attractiveness. The whole chain is they have preference, and then they have trade off, and then they have the trade off may have some consequence. And so in our studies, we define the peer review duration as the independent variable, and the attractiveness of manuscript as a dependent variable, and conduct the regression. That's my design. I hope this can answer your question.
But the way you explain it, it seems to me that what you want to explain is the duration of the manuscript between the time the manuscript has been submitted and accepted and reviewed. And the attractiveness is one of the reasons why the review will be shorter. So it seems to me that what you want to explain is the duration, right? Isn't that what you want to explain? So it's not just, I mean, to some extent, it's a correlation. But in terms of causality, in a sense, the idea is that the more attractive is the journal, the shorter will be, or the more attractive is the paper, the shorter will be the review duration, isn't it?
Yeah, yes. So reviewers face their papers with different attractiveness. For the groups with higher attractiveness, they will review them quickly, and for the boring papers, they will review them slow. Yes, we want to study this question, and we think logically the peer review duration occur in the first, and the attractiveness variable is the latter one. So in the variable setting, we think the former should be the independent variable, and the latter should be the dependent variable. When we submit our paper to the journal, reviewers also ask us this question, and we also swap the independent variable and the dependent variable, and we get similar results. The size, the direction, and the significance of the independent variable are significant. Yes.
Okay.
We know that's an important question. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Opposition will be continued by Dr. Raf Guns, who was also a member of the assessment committee and who is a senior researcher in social sciences and humanities, including bibliometrics. So the floor goes to Dr. Guns.
Thank you, Prorector. Dear candidate, every researcher has opinions about peer review, and those can be positive or negative, and they can be crude or more refined. But it is, I think, fairly rare that they are based on more than just personal experience and anecdotal evidence. So that's the reason why I think that your thesis also is important work, and I'd like to congratulate you with the results. However, I also have two questions about this, and I will first ask my first question now. And this question relates to the open science movement, which is, I think, one of the more important forces of change in the research landscape of the last decade. A lot of attention has been directed to the openness of methods and data and results. But I believe that your thesis also raises the question to what extent we should strive for more openness of the evaluation procedures in research. So you do touch on this a number of times in the thesis, also in the presentation you just gave, among others, because you use these open peer review data from BMJ. But I'd like to invite you to reflect on this a bit further. So for instance, what I'm wondering is, what would be your recommendation? What form of peer review would you recommend to a newly started journal? Do you believe that different forms of open peer review are more or less important? And especially, I'm interested in the question in your presentation. I think you mentioned open peer review. You recommend it, and you're referring to both the contents of the peer review and the identities of the people that are involved. But those are two different things, and they don't necessarily have to go hand in hand. So what is your opinion on that? What would be your recommendation?
Okay. Esteemed opponent, thank you for your questions. Indeed, in the past years, the open review is becoming more and more important. I think you have interest on the role of open review on open science, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. The open science includes large schools in scientific system, and we also conduct some studies other than peer review and open access. As to the open peer review, it's an important practice in opening the peer review black box. And further, as to the scientific communication, open peer review can make the peer review process to the public, and this practice can make the reviewers more responsible and reduce the inequality in science, which is helpful to the accountability in science. In addition, reviewer comments is important scientific resources. In the past decades, this resources is useful, but with the openness of the review comments, increasing researchers can use this use this kind of resources, and I think this practice can make the SAS system more efficient. Yeah, so it's worth to explore the open peer review endeavors in the future studies. Yeah, when we are doing this. Yeah. So I hope I can answer your questions, or you can if you have other questions, you can ask me. Yeah.
Okay, so if I understand you correctly, suppose I start a new journal tomorrow, you would recommend to me that, yes, opening up this peer review process, both in terms of who is involved and also what do people say about research, you generally think it would be a good thing to open that up. Am I understanding you correctly?
Yes, yes. Open peer review is actually trained in our scientific communication, and more and more journals um, you use this peer review forms. Actually, now preprint increasing scientists submit their papers on the preprint forms, and their names show in the preprint, so that the double blind maybe is dead. So the in the future in the future submission. Maybe we all need the open peer review.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's continue the opposition by Professor Jiang Li, who was the third member of the assessment committee and whose expertise is on research on scientometrics at the School of Information Management in China. The floor goes to Professor Li.
Thank you, Director. Well, Guangyao, let me summarize how this thesis impressed me before I raise my questions to your thesis. Okay, and the topic is quite interesting and important. The methodology is sound, and the findings of the thesis shed light on the discussion of science evaluation, and also have the potential to benefit research administration institutions, reviewers, and authors. Well, you have done a good job. Then let's move on to my first question. My question is about the measurement of the variables in chapter 2. The variable paper is measured by the number of citations after the publication of the paper. Well, if we measure the quality of a paper like this, then how to measure the quality of the submissions which failed to be accepted by the journal? If I'm not wrong, you measured the quality of the papers which failed to be accepted by this journal by counting the number of citations after it's accepted by another journal, right? Then I have to say there is a difference. There could be a difference between the manuscript which originally submitted to Journal A and the version submitted to Journal B. So how do you manage this kind of difference in this chapter?
Okay. Highly esteemed opponents, thank you for your questions. Yes, it's a good question about the measure of the big ideas. In our study, we use the post-publishing publishing citations to measure the big ideas. We know that there may be bias in this measure. The post publication citations it's not a perfect measure of quality, and the citation can be influenced by various factors such as number of authors and the journal impact factor. Firstly, we follow the previous studies, and they use the post publication citations to measure the paper quality, and because the post publication citation is widely accepted. Secondly, you see that if we submit a manuscript to the journal, but the journal rejects them, and the reviewers may give them good comments, and the author can revise the papers, and the quality may be improved. Yes. In our another studies, we mainly focus on this point. We use we think what is the quality promotion? Actually is changes in between the version, old version and the new version. We calculated the difference between the preprint version and the published version, and incorporate this difference into our regulation, and we found that this difference is not significant. That means maybe in our previous literature, we think other reviewers' comments is very good, it's correct, but we think the author's idea, a co-idea, is not important, and reviewers' comments don't doesn't play important role in the peer review process. It's our another study, and we also want to find another variable to measure the big ideas, that is the paper quality, for example, the novelty, or some other other variables in the future studies. I'm looking forward to find the new good variable. I hope this can answer your question.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. The opposition will be continued by Professor Harian Ho, who was the last member of the assessment committee, and whose expertise is on science evaluation and scientometrics of the School of Public Administration and Policy at the Dalian University of Technology in China. The floor goes to Professor Hu. Or how?
Thank you.
It's correct. Spell your name.
Congratulations to Guanguao. I think your thesis presents a thorough examination of science evaluation, especially on peer review, which is a very, very important topic. And you've done a very well job. I have one question for you, which is related to chapter 3. Why do you investigate the relationship between manuscripts' attractiveness and the automatic attention score? There are other factors that can represent the attractiveness within the manuscript itself. For example, like one of the authors is a famous scientist, or from a famous institution, or the topic is hot or attractive. Why don't you use those kind of indicators instead of automatic attention score?
Thank you. Highly esteemed opponents, thank you for your questions. Yes, yes, you raised an interesting question. In our in our study, we want to measure the attractiveness of the manuscript. Actually, we want to check that maybe the interesting paper maybe we get the fast peer review process. So what is the interesting how to measure the interesting? Yeah. To address this question, we check the previous studies, and the current studies show that the citations mainly focus on the impact of papers and the and maybe the new indicators, the automatic attendance score can use to measure the attractiveness of papers. And we to avoid the other factors influence our regulation results. We also incorporate the paper citations and authors' prior citations in the control variables to avoid other influence. And we also consider that the automatic attention score consists of various data sources. For example, the Twitter, the blog. We also set the Twitter and the blog as the dependent variables, and use them conduct new regulations. And we also get the significant results. So these results also support our hypothesis. I hope this can answer your question.
Yeah, I think the automatic attention score is kind of a reasonable factor. But my suggestion is maybe in your future research, you can consider those kind of factors inside within the manuscript itself. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Any follow-up question? No. The opposition will then be continued by Dr. Turkelly, who is an additional opponent and whose expertise is in the field of economic complexity and innovation at UNU Merit. So the floor goes to Dr. Turkelly.
Thank you, Pro-Rector. Zhang, I would like to congratulate you to bring together these essays and publications. I would like to ask a general reflection question on how science evaluations have changed over time. We now have, as you just mentioned, open peer review and the digital aspects of it, because it relies on some digital platform opening the transparency. Could you reflect on a little bit past, present, and future of science evaluations and how they changed over time and what kind of changes we might expect in future?
Esteemed opponents, thank you for your questions. Yes, the science evaluation is always the important question in the scientific system. In the past, science scientists were mostly judged by their own their individual achievements. For example, how many papers they publish, especially in well-known journals, and the citations. How often they work is referenced become important too. These metrics also used in today, but they don't always tell the whole story of the science evaluation. Now, the current scientific evaluation system the focus on the real world impact. We also for the social impact, and many scientific evaluation system, for instance, REF has incorporated the social impact into the scientific evaluation, and in current scientific evaluation, the teamwork, the collaboration is also important in current science evaluation. And in the past years, they mainly focus on their individual achievements. And now with the development of open science, the review with the development of open peer review, the review endeavor has been raised in current science evaluations. Past years, the reviewers have made a lot of contributions, but no one knows them. And now, in some countries, such as Australia, the peer review contributions can be useful in their promotion in universities or other scientific institutions. And this is becoming a part of how scientists are evaluated in a whole the current scientific evaluation system encourage more diverse and more inclusive. Not only the more efficient system and but also a more equal system. That is very important. That's also our goal to study in my PhD thesis. Yes, I hope this can answer your question.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. The opposition will be continued by Dr. Xiaoling Sun, who is in Scientometrics 2 and Knowledge Management at the School of Public Administration and Policy at Dalian University of Technology in China. The floor goes to Dr. Sun.
Thank you, dear professor. Hi, Guanguao. Congratulations to your achievement. I think you have demonstrated impressive depth of understanding of peer review process. And I think the research design is well crafted and the analysis is comprehensive. I have a question for you. The question is related to chapter 4. In chapter 4, you studied the prize awards. I think it's very interesting. My question is about, so how the prize awards are manually selected? What the criteria are for the selection? given that the significant subjectivity involved in manual selection. So how can the reliability of the results be verified?
Okay, esteemed opponent, thank you for your question. Yes, how to label the praise from the peer review comments is also a good question. Yeah, when we submit our paper to the accountability in research, the reviewers also ask us this question. And there may be some, indeed, there may be some disadvantages in the accuracy of manual labeling compared to the NLP and the sentiment analysis. However, in previous studies, also some authors analyze peer review comments and suggest that the machine sentiment analysis is unreliable. I think human can understand the context better than machine. They started publishing research evaluation and the QSS. When we talked about the accuracy or the details of the coding process and the definition of praise, we are referring to how we created a system for coding the data. The system helps us turn writing or visual information into numbers for analysis. In my research, that means the word count. Yeah. However, it is also pointed that for certain types of data, it's hard to finalize the coding system ahead of time. This is because researchers might not know exactly what kind or how much data they are collecting. Before we analyze, before we code the praise, we don't know what is praise. But when we analyze the comments, we know maybe these comments show reviewers respect, show reviewers interest, and in the coding practice, we can easily understand and collect and the praise. And actually, in the updates on method, in our coding practice, the two researchers independently code their review comments, and the reviewers' identity was unknown during the coding process. And subsequently, a third researcher cross-validating consistors. We also know the whose method is important, and we think in the future studies, in the future analysis, the general artificial intelligence, such as ChatGPT, we can use the ChatGPT to analyze the to code the phrase. That may be a good supplement for the human coding. Yes, yeah. I hope this can answer your question.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. The opposition will be continued by Dr. Chun Yang, whose expertise is in innovation management and strategy, and who's also involved with the School of Public Administration and Policy at Italian University of Technology of the People's Republic. The floor goes to Dr. Yang.
Okay, dear candidate, thank you very much for your talk. I'd like to extend my Congratulations on your an outstanding piece of work. Let me carry two questions. My first major confusion arrived at the page 26. As we know, in ordinary least square regulation, the R square or adjusted R square typically fall between 0 and 1. In table 2.7, regulation result between journal impact factor and also reputation. However, your result shown that the adjusted R square is less than 0. That means negative R square. So could you provide us with an intuitive understanding of what this negative R square will represent in your study?
Okay, esteemed opponent, thank you for your question. Yes, yeah, I also find there's a negative just R square in my chapter 2. I can explain it. Yeah. Because the goal of this chapter is to answer the question that big names, big ideas on big names. What matters in peer review, and in the in the table 2.6, we find the phenomenon that the big name matters in among junior in peer review among junior researchers, and but there's also some other explanations where we need to exclude them. So we propose three other explanations in the section. What does new matter? We propose that the journal effect, the gender and the country effect, and the signaling effect. So the first effect is journal effect. What is the journal effect? Because we find that author reputation only works in among the junior researchers, but among the senior researchers or intermediate researchers, the author reputation doesn't work. So why? Maybe the senior authors submit their papers to the good journal, the top journals such as Nature or Science, but the junior researchers only submit their papers to the ordinary journal. So we want to explain this, exclude this story. So in our analysis, we set we define the author citation. The author reputation includes the author citation and the author publication as the independent variable, and define the journal impact factor as the dependent variable. So and conduct new regulation, and the results shows in the table 2.7, and the coefficients of the author citation and the author publication are not significant. That means we can exclude the competitive story. As to just a square. It's negative and merely nearly zero. It doesn't influence our whole story. Maybe we can correct the form of the empirical analysis and show it in a bar chart or another graph, and because our goal is to exclude the general effect. So the R square in the whole story the R square doesn't matter actually. Yes. I hope this explanation can answer your question.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, this makes that we conclude the first round and we can move into a second round. And then it's a custom that we mostly give the floor then first to those who are furthest away. And in this case, it almost as much as we have lots of colleagues in the People's Republic of China, given the fact that Professor Monen had to get up early in the morning, being in Canada, I would like to give him the opportunity to surprise us with a new question in this last part and the beginning of the second round. So Pierre, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Professor. Yes, I would have another question, actually two questions concerning chapter 4. You use the cultural distance index from Hofstede between the country of the person who submits the paper and the country of the person who referees the paper. Now, suppose that the Chinese scholar submits a paper to a journal and the referee is somebody from the University of Oxford. In that case, would you consider the distance between China and the UK, or the distance between China and the nationality of the referee in the UK? Because that referee might be at Oxford, but it might also be a Chinese scholar. So you see my question. So in your case, was it the country of the university of the person who refereed, or really the country of origin of the referee?
Highly esteemed opponents, thank you for your questions. Yes, you raise an important and obvious question. Because now maybe a Chinese scientist he is born in China, but he worked in the UK or the US or the Dutch. Yeah. So this may bring bias in our empirical analysis. So yeah, we also been asked by the reviewers, and our solutions is that we firstly we use the work address to identify their country and their affiliation, and then we use their names to check their countries and to judge their culture. And then we exclude their origin country and their work country. If the two countries are different, we exclude them from our analysis, and we get the same results. The independent variables is significant. We handle the reviewers and the authors. Yeah, we also address the.
Paula asked.
As the Guanguao Zhang, as the time appointed for defending your thesis has passed, we as a degree committee will now withdraw to discuss the quality of your thesis and the quality of your defense. I request that you and your company await the results of our deliberations and our return.
Corrector, you're muted.
Here present online has assessed the quality of your thesis and the quality of your defense. And in view of its positive verdict and taking into account your previous qualifications, the degree committee has decided to grant you the degree of doctor. Professor Verspagen, your supervisor, is authorized to confer upon you this academic distinction in accordance with Dutch university custom. And I invite your supervisor to now take the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Prorector. Guangzhou, I have to ask you one more question, and that's the following. Do you promise to work in accordance with the principles of scientific integrity at all times, to be careful and honest, transparent, independent, and responsible?
Yes, I promise.
Thank you very much. That's the correct answer. So then, by the authority vested in us by law and in conformity with the decision of the committee here present online, I hereby confer upon you, Guanguao Zhang, the degree of doctor and grant you all rights attached by custom and law. And as evidence of this, you will soon receive the degree certificate signed by the rector, the secretary, and the supervisor, and affixed with the official seal of the university, as the beadle will now show us. Okay, then the floor is yours, Lily.
Thanks, Walter. So, dear Guangyao, dear Dr. Zhang, let me be the first to congratulate you on receiving a title of doctor. It has been a great pleasure working with you. I got to know you through your supervisor, Professor Xianwen Wang. When Xianwen told me about your work, I was very impressed by your attitude and your dedication to your research. When you came to Maastricht, I got to know you more and more, and now I can conclude that you are the most hardworking PhD student I've ever seen. So you always have so many exciting ideas, and it's also inspiring to be around with you. So you have always shown that research is your top priority, never getting distracted by things like parties or vacations, not like other students. So it also seemed that you never had time to complain about anything else. So as you know, there has been a kind of a debate recently about whether CSA funding is enough for PhD students living in the Netherlands, and whether this kind of CSA collaboration should continue. While other PhD students have been complaining about the low stipend, I was a bit concerned about you, since you only applied for 1 year funding, but you stayed in the Netherlands for 1.5 years. So, but when I talked to you, to my surprise, you remained really positive about the subsidy, and you were grateful for the opportunity. So you even told me that money doesn't matter for you. What you care about is only your research. I was very impressed. I still remember what you told me exactly. So considering how hard you worked every day in the office, I was worried about your well-being and tried a couple of times to get you away from your desk. So on weekends, I invite you to join my family for walks around our village, and I also invite you to go to visit the beautiful Falkenberg area with my family. However, even while strolling through the beautiful Limburg countryside, most of the time when I hear you, you were sharing about new research ideas. And it seems like research is fully embedded in your bones. Guangyao, your hard work and your dedication have paid off. You have been super productive during your PhD journey. You published 11 SCI peer-reviewed papers, and you were the lead author for 6 of them. And I also heard that you have secured a position in your local university. So your commitment to research, really very impressive. There's nothing you cannot achieve. So my only suggestion for you as a supervisor from this side would be, don't always sit in front of your desk. Try to communicate more with your colleagues in China, or Chinese colleagues, or English-speaking colleagues. Now you have your PhD degree. Don't always try to save time. Go to parties. Go to have some fun. So at last, I want to say I'm really proud of you, Guanguao. You are a really good researcher. I'm sure we will stay in touch after this defense. I wish you all the best in your career ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dear Dr. Zhang, also on behalf of Maastricht University, I congratulate you, your family, and your friends with the degree you have acquired. I would like to thank the members of the degree committee here present, who all from different times were available to discuss with you your research work. So thank to all of them, and once again, congratulations from Maastricht University, with the advice to surely celebrate this and create a party, as we just learned by the Laudatio. Make sure that you have a festive day. I hereby declare this ceremony to be ended.